the person has cut the belly. Oh my God, everything's out.
His intestines.
Yes, a lot.
In Birmingham, critical care paramedics Will Meadows and Colin Apps have been called to an accident on a building site.
He's been working on a building site, ground floor, just across the road from here. He's been using a plunge saw. Thought he had it all stable and reached underneath it, but it's still been going. It's dropped and gone through his arm.
Okay.
We've just got quite a deep laceration to the right forearm there.
Righto.
The blade has sliced open a deep 3-inch wide wound.
Have a clean bandage as well. Clean cut. Went quite grey. Was quite shocked from everything that happened originally. Had his legs raised on our arrival.
Rich was working alone when the mechanical saw caught in his coat and sliced through his arm. He ran outside to get help before collapsing unconscious in the street.
Got the first set of obs done now. Just got him inside because it was so cold, really.
Lovely,
so,
lovely.
Quite deep.
I think we have gone through some tendons or ligaments there, haven't we? But not much in the way of blood loss.
We're unsure. The towel that was wrapped round him disappeared once we were getting there. There was some blood in his left glove, so we're not sure exactly. There's no blood loss through the floor either.
Oh, well done.
If the blade has cut through muscles and tendons, there's a chance Rich could lose the use of his arm.
Do you think there is tendon damage?
It looks like it.
Have you got a good sensation in all your fingers?
Yeah, I can feel them all.
Can you move them well?
Pins and needles.
Do you feel like your grip is weak?
Do you feel sick at all?
A little bit.
A little.
Will phones control to update them on Rich's condition and discuss which hospital he should be sent to.
This saw has come down onto his the inside of his right forearm, and he sustained an isolated open laceration. It's quite deep. There's a lot of stiff adipose tissue, and it looks like there's possible tendon and ligament damage there as well. As he was sort of moving, you could see stuff moving in the forearm, if you know what I mean. We'll go with QE as his destination.
Rich's arm urgently needs to be assessed by a plastic surgeon, which means he will be blue lighted to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital Major Trauma Centre in Birmingham.
There was no sort of foreign bodies, debris or anything. It wasn't dirty, was it? It did look clean, didn't it? Yeah.
Rich's blood pressure and heart rate are returning to normal, so the ambulance crew can give him some pain relief with less risk of him passing out.
How much pain are you in?
Well, it's getting worse as it's go, like as I'm calming down a bit.
Yeah. If you had to give the pain you're in a score, a mark out of 10, 10 being the worst pain.
I'd say maybe about a 6 or 7.
Oh.
22 minutes after they arrived on scene, Rich is ready to start the 5-mile journey to hospital.
Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
Yes, yes, but the person's on the floor.
Awake?
Yes, but the person has cut the belly.
Have they fallen? Are they able to speak to me?
No. Oh my God, everything's out.
His intestines.
Yeah.
Has he lost enough blood to fill 2 muscles?
Yes, a lot. Please, just come.
We're coming on blue lights and sirens, so we're going to be there as quickly as we can.
11 minutes after receiving the call, Tom arrives at the address. The injured man, 43-year-old forklift driver Rafa, is being given oxygen by the ambulance crew to try and keep him conscious as his body reacts to the shock of the 5-inch wound to his lower abdomen.
Right, so with this, if you just want to cover that with that.
The blade has sliced down through skin and flesh, exposing his intestines.
Oh.
Tom needs to try and keep the wound clean, prevent his intestines coming out, and stop the bleeding.
Hopefully, if we can just hold it around it, it will stick to it a little bit. And then, if I can get you guys to put some tape around that, is that all right?
Just going to stick the dressing down, Raphael, OK, just to keep it clean.
With such a deep wound, Tom knows Rafa could have catastrophic internal bleeding. He needs to get him to hospital fast for emergency surgery. The danger is that moving him may put too much strain on him and send him into cardiac arrest.
I just want to check his back while we're here.
Yeah.
It's very sweaty, isn't it? OK, so no other injuries. Was this done on a chainsaw then?
Yes.
Can you find out exactly what's happened?
The gentleman there speaks English.
How are you feeling?
He went on a ladder. He was doing something around this thing.
Yeah.
And Yeah.
It turns out Rafa was fixing the guttering with an electric saw.
This one?
Yeah.
When the ladder slipped, the saw ripped through his abdomen.
Yeah, 6'2", just an update. So heart rate's around 50 at the moment.
Rafa's blood pressure is low, which could be a sign that the blade has damaged some large blood vessels internally or even perforated the bowel.
He's quite clammy and sweaty at the moment. I see no immediate signs of him hemorrhaging, however, I don't know how deep it is. OK then, Rafa, we're going to put our chair here. We're going to get you to move you and take you into the back of the ambulance, OK? My only concern is he's a bit hypotensive, so he might go a bit funny if we stand up. So we're trying, obviously, avoid as little movement as possible. Hold on to my hand. OK. Do you feel like you can walk? No. OK, that's great. Are you sure? OK.
Despite Rafa's horrific injuries, Tom has no choice but to move him onto the ambulance,
Yeah.
keeping the pressure on the wound to stop his intestines spilling out.
I'm just a bit worried he's a bit hypotensive, so we'll just take our time. Well done. OK, so up you come. So at the moment, this gentleman's got a circular saw accident to his stomach, part of his bowel, and a lot of his stomach is out at the moment, so we've dressed it. We're going to give him some drugs to stop him bleeding and pain relief and take him to the major trauma hospital in Birmingham.
Just going to give you some pain relief, some paracetamol, OK, to help with your pain, Rafa.
How are you feeling? Yeah?
They head to the major trauma centre where Rafa will need immediate surgery to repair the wound and stop any internal bleeding. On the journey, Tom needs to keep his patient under close observation. There's a real danger his low blood pressure could suddenly drop, putting him into cardiac arrest.
Rafa, how are you feeling? All right? Good. Well done. You're doing a great job.
Arriving at hospital 23 minutes later, Tom can hand over his critically injured but now stable patient to the waiting specialist. In Bartley Green, Dr. Matt Rowley and critical care paramedic Kerry Penn-Ashman are treating 62-year-old Terry, who has fallen downstairs and hit his head.
So this is Terry, he's 62 years old, about 20 to 7 this evening. He's had a fall down about 4 or 5 stairs, fallen backwards. We think he's hit his head on the wall. Only injury is to the back of the head. It's bled through 3 dressings as of now.
Yeah, okay.
We can't really see sort of where it's bleeding from.
Terry was going to bed for a nap when he missed the handrail, fell backwards down the stairs and hit his head on a table. His injury has caused a serious bleed.
Okay, is it dripping anywhere? Yeah. So just let me hold your head. That's it.
Okay.
It all looks fairly clotted, doesn't it now?
Have you got another pad? And then we'll put another pad on just to see what comes off after that.
Matt examines Terry's injuries to determine what treatment to give on scene.
He's bleeding a lot.
I know, that's a lot. It's just constant.
Or with such excessive blood loss, he may need immediate hospital care.
Yeah, he's dripping quite a lot, actually, isn't it, underneath at the back?
Okay. What we're going to do, mate, is we're going to roll you onto your side so that these guys can have a good look at your head and see exactly what's going on.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to roll. Ready? 1, 2, 3, roll.
The head, and in particular the scalp, is a very vascular area of the body. If an artery has been severed, then Terry could lose a lot of blood very quickly.
Keep your head still for us, Terry, just whilst these guys have a good look.
You know, we're just going to cause more damage than good doing anything.
To find the blood is not from a damaged artery, the team start prepping Terry so they can get him to hospital for further assessment.
I think blue gauze dressing that you had before.
Yeah.
Just with bandage.
And then bandage round.
Right, Terry, so we're going to basically slide you on the floor so that your head's sort of pointing out towards the door, OK? Put you on our little board.
Matt decides it's safer to support and cover the head wound and get Terry to hospital, rather than deliver a significant intervention on scene. But first, they need to manoeuvre him onto the scoop.
Start to straighten your legs up for us. Nice and straight, that's it.
Ready?
Steady.
Steady.
Fine.
OK, stop. There you go, sweetie.
Nice and relaxed for me, mate. OK, just for a minute.
I'm just going to grab your waist, hun, OK?
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Just keep your legs nice and straight for me, Terry, all right, mate?
Okay.
Once on the scoop, the The crew cover the wound with a pressure bandage to help reduce further blood loss.
Push your head down against my hands now. Sit.
Right, I'm going to try and put this quite tight.
Yeah.
So I do apologise.
That's all right.
Just keep your hands on your tummy, darling.
He's got a large laceration to the back of his head after he's fallen down the stairs, so he's got a significant amount of bleeding in the back of the head. The scalp is very vascular, and sometimes just a few drops of blood can look like a significant volume on the floor. So he's stable at the moment. He needs to go to hospital to have it washed and examined and sutured up.
Just keep your head still, honey.
Okay.
You ready? Yeah. Ready, steady, lift.
Although there's still a concern for the amount of blood that Terry has lost, he's stable enough for the ambulance crew to take him to hospital.
We'll speak to the trauma desk and just let them know, and then we will tell the QE.
How are we doing, mate? Yeah? We're just going to wire you back up to our machine.
I'm just covered.
Do all the checks again.
On board the ambulance, Terry will be carefully monitored.
So 126/90, a little bit tacky at 114.
Are you in any pain at all at the moment, Terry?
My head's obviously sore when it smatters.
Yeah.
But apart from that, no, I'm all right.
How bad's the pain in your head at the moment, if you had to score out of 10?
Stinging.
We need to get you to the hospital so they can have a look at it and maybe just pop a little suture in it just to stop it bleeding.
Ambulance service, how can I help?
We had an initial call from the driver of a Arctic lorry to say that a white transit van had gone into the rear of his truck. Literally, as we put the camera around, it's been hit by another truck. It looks like the van's now on its side up the verge.
We have a crew on the motorway as we speak.
Reports that the transit van crashed into the rear of a lorry and was then struck by another truck increases the chance of significant injuries. So Mike and Dr. Katie's enhanced skills are likely to be needed.
Thanks, that's been investigated. The driver of the lorry is injured and then he didn't want to be assessed.
After a 6-minute drive, Mike and Katie arrive at the scene to find a van is on its side, having collided with 2 lorries. The driver of the van, the only person injured, has been moved to the ambulance.
So you've seen the van down the road?
Yeah.
He's been hit by a van, stopped in the road, and then another one's come up behind him at about 55, 60 miles an hour and just wiped him out.
Okay.
The driver of the van collided with the rear of a lorry. After coming to a stop on the carriageway, he was hit by a truck, which pushed his van up the side of the motorway embankment.
What's hurting at the moment?
The 39-year-old van driver was on his way to work when the crash happened.
Sorry, lovely. Nice deep breath for me. Okay, good, and again. Okay, so we've got nice symmetrical chest expansion, some bruising to that.
Dr. Katie and Mike need to carefully manage the patient's airway to ensure he doesn't choke.
So he's gone into the back of that lower loader?
As Dr. Katie treats the driver, Mike examines the wreckage. The condition of the cab can point to the kind of internal injuries he may have suffered.
Yeah. Okay, that van's a mess, isn't it? Yeah.
Lots of intrusion, or?
Yeah, I'd say, well, roof's down a little bit. Not too much around him, but he's been shaking around a little bit, I must say.
A faint radial pulse is an indication of low blood pressure. It's possible the patient has life-threatening internal bleeding.
Distended abdomen, some bruising across his abdomen. It's quite tense.
He needs to be scanned in hospital urgently.
From what we've seen so far, he's got a bit of abdo swelling, and I think he's losing a bit of blood into his tummy by the look of it.
Okay.
So we'll have to nick off quite quickly down to the QA.
Okay.
And he's been hypotensive with you?
He was when he was out there. He was
fine.
About 70 systolic.
Yeah.
Right. But you've got 2 blood pressures on there.
Fine. Lovely.
His blood pressure is falling and potentially he's bleeding internally. They need to get him to the major trauma centre at Birmingham's Queen Elizabeth Hospital, but that's 20 miles away.
How's your pain at the moment? It's okay?
Dr. Katie gives the patient an injection of fentanyl, a strong opioid painkiller to help him cope with the pain of his injuries on the journey to hospital.
This on your arm? What about your arm, buddy? Okay, just Your arm, you're in pain up there? In your chest, in your shoulder? You've got shoulder tip pain there on top of that, yeah. Has that pain just started in your shoulder?
Yeah, blood pressure's dropping.
Is
I
it?
think we'll probably have to we're going to have to give him some blood.
The patient's condition is deteriorating. A drop in blood pressure combined with shoulder pain are all signs of internal bleeding. To increase his blood pressure, Dr. Katie decides to give him a blood transfusion using a machine that warms the blood to body temperature.
His pulse is a lot weaker. So the first unit's going in at
4:44.
Okay, lovely. We're doing so well. Hello, hi. Just wanted to give you a heads up. I am quite concerned about him that he's bleeding, and I think he should have a code red available, please.
A code red means the hospital needs to have blood on standby for an emergency life-saving transfusion. At Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, the man is handed over to the major trauma team for emergency treatment. "30-year-old bricklayer Daniel was cutting the timber on a workbench using an angle grinder with a 4.5-inch circular blade when he lost control and it sliced through his right hand. His wife Stacey found him and has been trying to stop the bleeding.
Okay, and how bad is it before we have a look at it? Is it pretty bad? Okay.
He hasn't seen it.
Okay, what's your name, sir?
Daniel.
Daniel. Do you live here, do you? Is this right? Okay. Yeah.
The paramedics have been on scene for 5 minutes. Daniel is in a severe state of shock and close to passing out. They've got him to raise his arm above his heart to try and stop the bleeding.
It's fine. Have you got your trauma pack with you tomorrow?
No, I can go grab some.
Yeah, I think maybe if you're saying it's quite bad, we'll get our bandages just in case. If you hurt yourself anywhere else? No. No, so it's just your hand? Yeah. Okay. Do you mind if I...
Yeah.
This impressive towel you got on here.
It's the second one.
Okay. Okay, so what we'll do, before we open it up, we'll get our bandages just in case. All right. Are you all right to come round here and cut his sleeve off? Yeah. I've got some scissors on me, if you want, yeah. So quick.
Really tight.
Okay. I know, sorry, buddy. We'll give you some pain relief, but what I want to do is have a real quick look at it first.
Until he can actually see the wound, Tom doesn't know if Daniel has cut an artery or is in danger of losing any fingers. Both require immediate surgery.
Okay, all right, bud. Turn your arm round. All right. You feel me touching your hair? Okay.
Daniel has a 3-inch wound, 1.5 inches deep between his thumb and forefinger. Once the towel is removed, it starts bleeding freely again.
Wiggle that thumb for me.
Can't.
Okay, all right. What we're going to do, buddy, is we're going to clean it up. It's in the corner bit of your thumb. That make you obviously know where it is.
Lucky for Daniel, the blade stops short of the bone.
Straighten that arm out for me. I'm sorry. Well done. I just want to straighten this hand for me.
Daniel is fortunate. All his fingers are still there, and there's no obvious nerve damage. The wound will now be cleaned with saline solution and dressed to immobilize the fingers and help stop the bleeding.
It's just obviously in the crease of his thumb. He's got good circulation here. Yeah, and he can feel me touching his hands. Yeah. And it's, yeah, so I think it's just more soft tissue.
Yeah.
We're going to cover it.
Yep.
And then I think we'll...
If we just take a picture? So
yeah, that's fine.
One of the paramedics takes photographs of the wound to show to the hospital doctors in A&E so they can assess whether he needs immediate surgery.
Yeah, nice and still.
All right. Keep still for us, buddy. As soon as you've done this, we'll get you some pain relief.
Last year, almost 5,000 people were admitted to hospital following accidents with power tools.
We're going to bandage that up. It's going to be a little bit painful for a little while.
I'm sorry, mate. When you're working next, don't say Monday.
Yeah. He won't be.
I think it probably feels and looks worse than what it is.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be cleaned, it needs to be x-rayed.
Yeah.
And it needs to be stitched back together.
Cheers for that. I don't know how you lot could look at it, to be fair.
No, that's all right, mate. There you go. Just take your time, nice and slow. We're in no rush. Feel all right? Let me just walk behind you.
With Daniel now recovered enough to walk out to the ambulance, Tom is happy to leave him in the care of the local crew for the journey to hospital.